Sometimes the price of love is sacrifice. In the case of Jesus, when he says, in the Philippians, it said that, talking about Jesus, and he said that he saw equality with God as not something to be grasped, but he took on the very nature of a servant. He chose to be obedient to God, and it says even to the point of death, even death of the cross. In other words, like the worst death possible is the death of a cross. It talked about when you just picture, not just the cross, okay, dude, normal, healthy dude, okay, we're going to hold you down, we're going to drive some spikes in you, right? He got beaten. He got beaten for doing nothing. He was beaten, and he could have stopped it, but that was part of the obedience process. He loved his Father so much that he chose to be obedient. Now, I don't want to gross you out, but you have to picture the whole, because this is how my brain operates. He's tied to a post of some nature, right? And they beat him with this thing called a cat of nine tails. The cat of nine tails was basically a whip with multiple ends on it. And they would tie rocks and bone and pieces of metal to it. So it wasn't just a whip that would leave a whelp. It was, even blisters or even break the skin. It shredded the skin, right? And so what they do is they hit high on the shoulder blade. So if he was over here, they hit high on the shoulder blade and then pull down. And so the whip would hit you high. And so you just got picture like 9 pieces of metal or stone or, whatever they would have been. Picture the 9 pieces of bone or whatever. Picture that hitting your skin. So it's, and then he pulls down, and when he pulls down, it's tearing skin. And the only reason they only stopped it, they do it 49 lashes, but they only did 39, because if you went over 40, they would kill the soldier, because it'd probably kill the guy, right? So he did it 39 times. The forensic people would say that his internal organs would have been visible from the outside. Get that in your head for a second. That it wasn't just bloody and scars and cuts, but that the skin would have been shredded, the muscle would have been shredded, that the internal organs would have been exposed and seeable from the back. And he did that because he wanted to be obedient to the Father. That he saw equality with God is not something to be grasped or held on to. That he recognized that he was not the master, that he was the servant. That he was not the one who was the gardener, but he was the vine. That it wasn't his job to call the shot, it was his job to carry out the shot that had been called. And so many times we want to debate with God as if we think that equality with God is something to be held on to. So to be grasped, that we want to have our rights to make our own opinions. We struggle with issues of obedience. We struggle with issues of lordship. We struggle with issues of surrender. So when God says, or Jesus says, obey me as I obeyed my Father, what he's saying is, I went all the way to the point of death. I took the beating. I carried my own crossbar. I was crucified for your sin. I was judged for your sin. I was separated from God for your sin. I didn't do that because it was easy. I did that because of love. That was the price that Jesus paid to love his Father. And that was the price that God paid to love us.